Ellie's gay and doesn't care what you think about it. And I remember reading that being like, that's cool. Hello, I'm Bella Ramsey, and Them has made a video game for me to explore some of my most beloved characters. Let's go. I'd like to be the light blue thing next to the tree.
I knew you were going to choose that.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
It's so cute. This is The Last of Us. What am I supposed to do with this?
Put it on, stupid.
That was Ellie and Riley having that one and only little kiss before everything goes horribly wrong. The mall was crazy. That was an actual abandoned mall. It was like about to be knocked down. It was really weird to be like filming actually in a mall when it's all a bit abandoned. There was a room just full of like old mannequins. It's quite creepy actually. Filming with Storm Reed was a really cool experience. She won an Emmy for that, for being Riley in the show. That was so exciting when she won that. She's the best like crier. I was like watching that, I was like, how? Actually, how do you do that? Because I really struggle with like crying in a scene. I'm really bad at it. She just does it. Ellie being gay was something that was established right from the self-tape email that I got. Craig wrote like a description of the character of Ellie, and he wrote, Ellie's gay and doesn't care what you think about it. And I remember reading that being like, that's cool. But I don't think that it's something that Ellie particularly thinks about very much. It's just something that is, I suppose. When I was growing up, which wasn't that long ago, I feel like there wasn't very much representation, like even then, when I was a kid. Definitely characters now that I look back, I'm like, oh, they were definitely like coded. Electra in The Dumping Ground, in Tracy Beaker, which will only mean something to like British viewers probably, but Jess now, who played Electra, she's actually like a friend of mine now, but she was definitely like the closest representation to like a gay character on kids' TV. She had like a blue streak through her hair, was kind of an emo, and was kind of cool. Ba-ding! I liked that noise. The last episode of season 1 of The Last of Us.
Swear to me that everything you said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Ellie is basically a little bit sus of Joel and everything that he's told her about the Fireflies and what happened in the hospital. And so she's just like going through and basically being like, this is why this is important. All of this is what I've been thinking about. And the idea that he would lie to her about something so important like, destroys her to think about. And so I think she had to believe him, had to choose to believe him. Filming scenes like this with Pedro, actually. This scene was a bad one for laughing. Oh, gosh, it's so scary when you start laughing intensely during a scene. It feels like you're never gonna stop. It feels like there's no way out. And especially with someone like him, who is so funny, and his laugh gets me. The way that he like wheezes, it sends me. When something's been funny once, it then becomes funnier and funnier and funnier. Especially when everyone around you is like, we gotta go, you can't keep laughing. For some reason, it's awful, it's really bad. People are, desperate for me and Pedro to be father and child. It's pretty fun. Like, I think it's a father-kid relationship that is actually quite successful. And I think that people want that to be real. I want it to be real, although my dad is great. He's just over there. He was sort of my dad on set, but I was also sort of his. It's more that we're just very much in it together as equals and like experiencing this crazy thing together. That noise is such a thrill. What a dopamine hit. I think I'm about to see Game of Thrones.
I remember when you were born, my lady. You were named for my Aunt Lyanna, who said she was a great beauty. I'm sure you will be too.
I doubt it. My mother wasn't a great beauty or any other kind of beauty. She was a great warrior, though.
Watching Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones, the first character I ever played when I was 11. That was the first like proper speaking scene I did on Game of Thrones. I had like a little horse riding scene before, but that was like kind of the first like proper day that I ever had on set, ever, on any set. You know what? This was 10 years ago. I can barely remember what happened. I more just remember the like feeling of like excitement. And I was just like taking it all in. It was just like the coolest thing, like the camera and like the boom operators. I just thought the whole thing was so cool. My introduction to Lyanna Mormont was the self-tape script sides that I got. I was so new. I had no idea what I was doing. Still don't really. Lyanna definitely sort of sees herself as an equal to everybody. There's a lot of scenes where I'm standing in a room of grown men like twice my height and 3 times my age, giving them orders and telling them exactly what I think about things, what Lyanna thinks about things. Lyanna had no fear with that. And something I get asked about with Game of Thrones often is like, was that intimidating, like going onto a set full of like big actors and like so many like people older than you? I was never intimidated. It was so comfortable. I'd gotten more naturally with people older than me anyway. I was just like so happy to be there. I just felt like I was one of them. So that's probably a similarity between me and Lyanna, is that she wasn't intimidated by them and neither was I.
And I might be a girl, but I am every bit as much a northerner as you.
Indeed you are, my lady. No one is
And I
questioning.
don't need your permission to defend the North.
I'm watching, I think, a scene from season 7 of Game of Thrones, where I'm letting Lord Glover and the rest of the room know that I do not plan on knitting by the fire. I loved doing this. I had so much fun. I remember reading that knitting by the fire line, thinking it was so cool. I wouldn't want to be kept inside, protected, and made to knit by any fires while everyone was out there fighting. I'd want to be out there fighting too. I loved getting to like say this. Felt like it was coming from Lyanna, but like from me as well. I felt very passionate about it. I didn't understand what non-binary was when I was 11 and did that. I was a tomboy, and that was sort of my word for non-binary. I didn't learn that word until I was much older, but I was a self-proclaimed tomboy, getting to like wear Lyanna's costume and like be her and not be put in a box by sort of the men's expectation of what Lyanna will and won't do. It just felt very natural to me. It was something that's very powerful about it, but I didn't feel like I was being this like strong, powerful advocate. I just felt like I was being myself. I think Lyanna definitely could be a little fruity in all ways. But she is 10, so let's be real. But I think that, yeah, if she got the chance to grow up, I can't see Lyanna with a man. Well, who knows? I actually can't see her with anybody. I think she would have been a single Pringle for all of her life and wanted it to be that way. Ding! Wakes me up every time. Well, I think it might be The Last of Us.
Hey, what do you call Grizzly's ribs? Barbecue.
I'm watching a scene from episode 1 of season 2 of The Last of Us. I said that weird. The Last of Us. Isabella Merced was a fresh face for season 2. She was so fun to work with. We really were in it together. That scene specifically, we were freezing our asses off. It was so cold. We had so much fun. The relationship between Ellie and Dina this season is really special and beautiful and funny, and getting to do that with her was brilliant. Being a teenager and having a crush is awful. It's an awful feeling and wonderful at the same time. It's so all-consuming. You just... ruins you. And is the best thing in the world, obviously. Like, how cool that we get to feel these things. I mean, the apocalypse feels pretty tough as well, but in a way, I think that being a teenager and having a crush in the apocalypse is easier than being a teenager and having a crush in the real world. Because in the apocalypse, like, you've got limited time. I feel like you've got nothing to lose. You just tell your crush that you have a crush on them. In the real world, there's not that like immediate threat to your life. So I think that so many crushes go unspoken. I think there's definitely some trauma from what happened with Riley. Yeah, for Ellie. Her biggest fear is ending up alone. The fact that she had to do what she had to do with Riley when Riley obviously turned infected and Ellie didn't. Ellie has this sort of fear of getting close to anybody because she knows the reality of like, you get close to someone, you're going to lose them at some point. I think that that's definitely something that plays on her mind. Never gets old.
Better?
Nope.
Okay.
This is a set. Ellie's garage, I think I say garage, was in a studio, but then it ended up being built on this other set. I had to shoot a few bits in that garage later on. The set had already been torn down in the other studio or something, so they like literally rebuilt the whole thing outside in this other set that we were in. So there were 2 versions of Ellie's garage. So Ellie has tats this season. 1 tattoo specifically that goes on a lot of her arm. Kat, who was Ellie's like first sort of girlfriend in Jack Jackson gave her this tattoo as a way to like cover up the burn that she's now got. Not the bite anymore. She got rid of that. That tattoo was kind of a cover up for that, and I think is how Ellie and Kat sort of bonded. Ellie's queer journey in season 1 is very much just like one episode, and then in season 2 it's a more overarching theme. But for most of the time it's just like Ellie and Dean are on their own, on the road. There's no one there to question them, so they're just sort of falling in love. Ellie's physicality, she's gotten tougher in ways that she shouldn't have had to get tougher. Even in season 1, she was much tougher than a 14-year-old should have to be because of the world that she's in. I mean, even going into the season, I trained in like stunts and jiu-jitsu and boxing and like fighting to be more physically strong. And I think that is something that carries through the season. It's just like Ellie just has this like strength and like hardness about her that wasn't so present in the first season. It sort of develops because it has had to, and I think that a lot of the like physical training that I did informed like my mentality as well, the mental strength or weakness of Ellie. Ding dong. Ellie meets Abby for the first time when things are going pretty badly. Abby is battering her father figure right in front of her eyes, and it's pretty bad. Ellie meets Abby, and it really sets up their relationship, sets the tone, shall we say. To Ellie, the idea that this immunity that she had was going to be for something, to like save the world and like help it to return to how it was going to be, like with a vaccine or something, that to her felt like her purpose in life. I don't think that she really feels a purpose other than that. And so the idea that that choice and that sort of purpose was taken away from her without her being consulted, I think just makes her really upset and angry, and I think she now feels like a bit purposeless. This immunity thing, I think it's this annoying secret that she's had to keep, and I think that she definitely would have rather have died for a purpose than be spared. She finds a new purpose. Joel was right. You keep finding something new to fight for, and she does, very much so, this season. Thank you. What do I get to do with the gems? Thank you, them, for coming and collecting these gems with me on this journey through the map of the characters that I have played. The kids call this mashing.